Before moving to Tennessee, I lived in Fairfax County, Virginia. That's inside the Beltway. Well, do you know recently the Board of Supervisors decided something for Easter? They said, let's have a, get this, celebrating Transgender Visibility Day. You say, what? Yeah, 9 Democrats and 1 Republican went along with this. You say, Larry, this is insanity. How can this stuff be going on? And it's right in your face. Well, people are drinking the Kool-Aid. That's why. I want you to watch. I'm going to hit 5 areas so that you don't succumb. In 1978, in Guyana, there was a man, Jim Jones, that had a community. It was a cult, actually. And maybe you remember the story. And what happened was about over 900 people drank some kind of like Kool-Aid substance and committed a mass suicide because they were feeling threatened in some way and misled by a cult leader. Well, do you know what? Today, many times people say, well, don't drink the Kool-Aid because that's what they did at Jonestown, and that's what that cult was all about. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid? Are you succumbing and gullible to stuff that's going on? Well, I want to encourage you. Listen, there's 5 areas, and I want to say right at the outset, I'm listening right now to this. Democrat Party hates America. This is the book I've had, and now I've got the audio. This is helping people understand what's really going on in this country as people are drinking the Kool-Aid. Let me run through some of the areas so yet you're a discerning Christian and have a biblical worldview on what's happening. First of all, don't drink the Kool-Aid on what's going on with the man in the White House. In this series by Mark Levin, he points out the hypocrisy of this man. First of all, Mr. Biden presented himself like a civil rights activist. But when you read and study history, you'll find out that he opposed busing, and this was a man that really was allies with segregationists. He didn't want integration. Watch this. This is just one little section here. If you remember when Kamala Harris confronted him when she was running against him to try and be president. Watch this.
But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of 2 United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the 2nd class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. What else? Mr. Biden says he's a devoted Catholic. So does his wife. But he's a rabid abortionist and a supporter. Abortion for any reason at any time right up until the moment of birth. But you say, well, Larry, he's always been this way, right? Isn't that being a hypocrite? No. Let me show you a statement on the screen. This is what Mr. Biden believed formerly, and then he changed. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. How about this? Gay marriage. Let's take a look here. Here's a clip of where Mr. Biden was at formerly, and now we know he's a rabid supporter lighting up the White House. Look at what he said. Listen.
Marriage is between a man and a woman, and states must respect that. Nobody's violated that law. There's been no challenge to that law. Why do we need a constitutional amendment? Marriage is between a man and a woman.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid. You've got to be discerning. You say, well, Larry, politicians evolve and do that. No, but you're called to be a person that supports a biblical worldview and votes values. And with the coming election, just months and months away, you've got to be discerning. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Recognize who people really are and what they represent. Here's another area. Don't drink the Kool-Aid today in terms of watching broadcasts. You might say, well, what do you mean? Well, if you back it up just a couple decades ago, people basically got their news how? from newspapers and broadcast news. You remember Walter Cronkite and Peter Jennings and all the rest? You know, they've gone by the wayside. And now people barely watch this stuff. You watch the commercials for these programs, and it's basically Medicare and medications, prescriptions, and it's geared at older people because younger people, they're having their minds shaped on the internet, not by network news. But you've got to be discerning because they have put a ban, the networks, on basically conservative voices. It used to be when you turned on The View with Barbara Walters, you had some intelligent discussion. Now you had better be a total leftist liberal or you won't be on the show. Late night comedians, Stephen Colbert, oh, he's going to be right at the side of Obama, Clinton, and Biden to raise $25 million in the coming months. What's it all about? Well, you see these talk shows and then Morning Joe in the morning and The View and all of this. Everything is basically leftist and progressive, and they don't have any conservative voices. They tried, NBC, just a couple weeks ago to bring on a lady that was head of the Republican National Committee because they said, well, we better try one conservative. But you know what? There was such an outcry on the station, NBC, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, oh my heavens. So what happened was she got the oust. She was booted real quick. You've got to be alert and make sure you know and discern where your news is coming from. Here's another area. Don't drink the Kool-Aid when it comes to this. Baby killing. Yeah, I'm talking abortion. Do you know that more than 50% of abortions last year were chemical abortions? This is the new wave, and the Biden administration is pushing this. They're saying, well, okay, Roe v. Wade, well, they tried to overturn it, they did this, but we're going to make sure that nobody stands in the way of reproductive care for women. My body, my choice. And so they're pushing to have this available, just like get it on the internet. It's convenient. There's no problems. They'll actually put nits for it. They'll say that there's no complications to this. It's easy going, etc. Folks, 1 in 25 women will go to the emergency ward. They'll say, well, we want to get it just so you can get it, you know, on the internet or through the mail. Well, you know what? That's against federal law. You can't do that right now. And then thirdly, they'll say, well, you know what? Gestation, the birth, the age of the baby, there's no problems and complications. Planned Parenthood will actually admit on their website, they'll say that you will have 13% is the figure after 10 weeks. If somebody takes some kind of chemical abortion pill, and so there's complications, and then there has to be surgery, and women are seeing a baby born that's dismembered, and it's all salted and everything. Folks, you've got to be very alert. There's a case before the Supreme Court. Maybe you've been following it, and we need to pray because we can see the progressive administration, they want abortion, on-demand, pills, whatever it takes. And we're called to speak up for those that are perishing. Let me give you a fourth area. Don't drink the Kool-Aid in this area. You can find out that progressives will say, well, you know what? We are standing for, women. We back women. You might notice I'm using B's here. I'm saying Biden, and then I'm saying broadcast, and then I'm saying, baby killing. And now how about backing women? You know, the progressives say, oh, yeah, we're all for women. But what about baby women? The babies that are being slaughtered. Half of the babies that are being aborted. What is it? It takes place with ladies. And here's the other one. Women's sports. You'll see the progressives. They'll vote strong. Dem Party, we're solidified together, and we're going to stand against this. If you're transgender and you're a guy, well, if you say you're a woman, you can support. Well, you've got 16 right now athletes, brave women. And they're taking the NCAA to court, saying we don't want to be going down this path where we've lost our privacy, awards are being taken away, scholarships are being lost. I have a member of our family, an expert swimmer, and all of a sudden this stuff goes by the wayside because you've had over 300 awards given to biological males that come out on a volleyball court or field hockey or whatever it is, and they say, no, I wear my wig now and I put on a dress and lipstick or whatever, and I become a woman so I can get a chance. Well, Riley Gaines is leading the charge in this, and we need to pray, but don't drink the Kool-Aid. Let's recognize biological, how are you born? Man or woman? And it's not a man, well, I think today I'm a dolphin, I'm a monkey, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I change, whatever it is. There's a fifth area I would say, don't drink the Kool-Aid. And you know what it is? I'd say be here. the battle in Israel. You know what took place October the 7th, and 1,200 people were slaughtered by Hamas. And there's people today in this administration will say, well, ceasefire and let's stop this, battle and let's have a two-state solution. And all. Folks, Israel is not the aggressor. They're attacked. They have to protect themselves. But we have to recognize the very origins of these terrorist Islamic groups. What is it? Wipe Israel off the map. I was at a gathering in Nashville this week. We had probably close to 200 people. And one of the speakers said, we need to change, I think the term, he said, from just saying anti-Semitism to Jew hating. It's all about hating the Jews. And we've seen this throughout history. And do you realize that Hamas, they're very similar to the Nazis, but even worse. You say, worse? Yeah. Well, the Nazis hid what they were doing to try and kill and did 6 million Jews. But Hamas, they brag about it. They'll show videos. And their pledge, we're going to kill the Jews and get them off the map. And America's the great Satan. We got to get rid of them too. Folks, you got to know your history. And, I spoke in Canada and to Nigerian Christians, and they told me about Boko Haram. And this is a terrorist group in Nigeria that slaughters and kidnaps and does all kinds of Islamic terrorism there. And then how about, do you remember in 1972, the Olympics? Oh, what was that? Well, in 1972, the Islamists, they invaded the village and they killed all the Israeli athletes that were there. How about 9/11? Don't forget what took place there. Who was it? 19 terrorists. We lost 3,000 people. Israel is not an aggressor. They're not violent. Some people say you never have any problem going into a Jewish neighborhood, and that's true. But see, when Israel gave over Gaza, and what happened was, within 1 year, who took it? Hamas. And then they start to use children and hospitals, and then they attacked, and 1,200 Jewish people were killed. And so now we don't say, okay, well, let's just bow and, cave and peace solution, it'll try it again and all that stuff. They are in a war, and so we oppose what's being said. We take a stand. We pray for the peace of Jerusalem. You've got to be discerning today. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Do you know what the sign was Jim Jones had in Guyana when they had that mass suicide of over 900 people? It said this: those who fail to learn the lessons of history are condemned to repeat them. We've got to learn our lessons from history and learn from the Word of God to be discerning. Hebrews 5:14 tells us that's what mature Christians are. They can discern. And may you and I be two of those kind of people.
Hey friends, if you felt this video was helpful, make sure you like and subscribe so you get notified once new videos become available. Thanks.